All right, so you want to like totally crush your next performance review.
Mm.
Who doesn't, right? We're diving into this fantastic article. It's called Tackle Your Next Performance Review with Confidence.
Hmm. Sounds useful.
Oh, it's good stuff. And it's by Nikki Anderson. She's a user researcher who like learned everything about performance reviews kind of the hard way. So she's sharing all her secrets with us.
Oh, I'm here for it. Always down for some good advice.
Me too, especially when it comes to like advocating for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's like Anderson's big thing, like owning your accomplishments and all that.
Which can be tough. It's easy to just like blend in, especially when you're busy.
Totally. But Anderson's got all these like actionable steps. It's not just like be confident. She actually tells you how.
Love that. I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Okay, so imagine this, right? Anderson's going into her first performance review ever. She's feeling good, aiming for a promotion.
Okay, feeling herself? I like it.
And then she realizes it's not even the right time for promotions.
Oh, no.
Not the right cycle or whatever. Can you imagine? Ugh, talk about deflating. I bet that was like a punch to the gut.
Right. Total buzzkill. But hey, at least she figured it out early on.
True, true. Better than like a year later realizing you missed the boat.
Exactly. And that experience, plus like going through a layoff later.
Yeah.
It taught her to be proactive.
Yeah, you got to take control of your own destiny, right? Can't just sit around waiting for things to happen.
100%.
Yeah.
And her number one tip, knowing the lay of the land.
Okay, what does that even mean?
So it's like, think of yourself as a detective at your company.
Ooh, I like this. I'm intrigued.
Your mission. Figure out what success actually looks like to them. Not just what you think it looks like, but what they value.
That is so key because sometimes those things, they don't always line up, do they?
Exactly. And, we've all been there where we're like, but I did this great thing. And it's like crickets.
The worst.
So how do we crack the code? Anderson says, sometimes you just got to ask.
Straight. Yeah. Talk to your manager. Don't be afraid to be like, hey, what are the top priorities for you right now? For the team, for the company.
Okay, that's actually really good advice. Sometimes we overthink it, we don't want to seem clueless. But sometimes just asking is the best way.
Totally. And those all-hands meetings that everyone kind of tunes out of?
Oh yeah, guilty as charged.
Anderson says they're actually gold mines for clues.
Really? I always just see it as a time to like zone out on my phone.
I know, right? But think about it. Who's getting praised? What projects are they highlighting?
Good point. You can definitely pick up on what the higher-ups are excited about.
Right. Those are your answers. It's like free intel on a silver platter. Just got to pay attention, take some notes, connect the dots.
I'm going to start bringing a notebook. I'm serious.
Do it. And Anderson has this great analogy. She says, observe what gets rewarded.
Ooh, I like that.
Who's getting promoted? Who's getting those raises, those shout-outs? That tells you what the company truly values.
And then it's up to us to show how our work aligns with those values.
Exactly. It's not about being a suck-up. It's about understanding the playing field. And speaking of playing fields, they can change. Especially in today's world, things move so fast.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like every other week there's a new shiny object.
All right. Anderson's been through the startup world, and she says you gotta ditch the need for control. Embrace flexibility. Become a master of the pivot.
Oh, that's the name of the game these days.
It is. It means building strong relationships across teams. You gotta always be in the loop, know what's changing, be ready to adapt your plans.
And be okay when things get turned upside down, because they will.
Oh, they absolutely will, but that's part of the fun, right?
I guess so. Keeps things interesting.
Right. But what happens when you do have a clear goal in mind, like that promotion Anderson was after, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, yeah. How do we actually achieve those big goals?
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
So how do we actually, set ourselves up for success with these goals we've got swirling around?
Yeah, give me the step-by-step. Break it down.
Okay, Anderson is all about OKRs. Objectives and key results.
I've heard of those, but honestly, I kind of tune them out,
Yeah.
they always sound so corporate and jargony.
Oh, I feel you. But Anderson actually makes them make sense. Think of it like mapping out your ideal career journey, right?
Okay, I like that. A roadmap. I get behind a good roadmap.
Exactly. So your objective is the destination, like that big, audacious goal you're working towards.
Okay, so like become head of user research, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Or like transition into UX design, whatever gets you fired up.
Love it. So what about the key results?
Those are your milestones, the measurable steps along the way that prove you're making progress.
Gotcha. Got to track those wins along the way.
Yes. And Anderson breaks this whole process down into steps, right? So first you got to get clear on your aspirations, like what really excites you? What impact do you want to make?
This is where we get to dream big, right?
Yes, no holding back. Once you have that North Star, then you turn those aspirations into concrete objectives.
Concrete. Okay,
Yeah.
so measurable, specific, all that good stuff.
Exactly, because if you can't track it, you can't achieve it right.
How about it?
Then break each objective down into those like bite-sized key results.
Okay, this is making way more sense now.
Yeah.
I can see how this would actually be helpful.
Right. It's not just some like corporate buzzword thing. It actually makes sense for your own career.
Exactly.
But here's where things get tricky, and this is where Anderson learned a hard lesson. Remember how she went after her goals without looping in her manager?
Oh yeah, that didn't go so well for her.
Not at all. It's a recipe for miscommunication, missed opportunities.
And probably some frustration on everyone's part,
I
right?
know, totally. So don't be like Anderson. Share your draft goals early. And I mean like really early.
Don't wait till the performance review is just around the corner.
No way. Get feedback, iterate on them, and most importantly, secure your manager's buy-in.
Because if they're not on board, it's going to be an uphill battle.
100%. And this is where documentation is your best friend. It keeps everyone on the same page.
Yeah, no more awkward, wait, what goals are we talking about? Moments.
Exactly. So remember that detective work we talked about before?
Oh yeah, figuring out what success looks like to the company.
Yes. Time to put on your detective hat again, because now we're going to talk about acing the actual review meeting.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with your best shot.
So Anderson breaks it down into 3 stages, right? Before, during, and after.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
A good framework always helps.
Totally. So before the review, you got to make sure all your ducks are in a row.
Got it. No last-minute scrambling.
Exactly. Confirm deadlines with HR, gather any feedback from your colleagues if you haven't already, and then just, like, take stock of your relationship with your manager.
Okay, so it's not just about the work itself, it's about the bigger picture.
Right. It's all connected. And during the review, Anderson emphasizes keeping things in perspective. Remember, one performance review does not define your whole career.
Well, that's good advice. It's easy to get caught up in the moment and freak out.
Right. It's easy to spiral, but it's just one data point in your journey. And here's a big one. Be aware of biases.
Oh, you mean like the manager's biases?
Yes, managers are human, right? So sometimes they fall prey to unconscious biases that might influence how they're evaluating you.
That's a good point. I never really thought about it that way.
It's true. And if something doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to speak up.
Yeah, you've got to advocate for yourself.
Exactly. You've been tracking your accomplishments. You've been asking for feedback. You know your worth.
Okay, love that energy. What about after the review? What do we do with all that feedback?
It's true. And Anderson's advice for this part is great too. So first things first, remember you and your manager are on the same team.
Yeah, we're not enemies.
Right, exactly. You both want to see you succeed, you know? So once you've had time to like process the feedback, good and bad, follow up, let them know you appreciate their time and that you're all in on like your own development.
It's all about communication and that growth mindset.
Yes. And if there's some negative feedback that stings a bit, try to take it in stride. Use it as like fuel for growth, not a reason to go into a shame spiral, you know?
I've been there. It's too easy to get in your head about it.
Totally. But yeah, keep things in perspective. Your career's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
There'll be ups and downs, wins, losses. The key is to stay focused on the long game. Keep learning, keep advocating for yourself.
I love that. Okay, so to wrap things up, it sounds like this whole deep dive was packed with advice from Anderson's article.
Oh, for sure. But here's the thing about advice, right?
What's that?
It's only as good as what you actually do with it.
Oh, 100%. Got to put it into practice.
Right. So my challenge for you listening is this. What's one thing that really clicked for you from all this?
Yeah, what are you going to take action on?
Exactly. And I mean action, not just like, oh yeah, that was interesting. Write it down, set a reminder if you have to, and then go out there and crush your next performance review.
You got this.
You got this.